We have some interesting sound effects. But I think it's very good. It's the sonar.
Interfering with the RF. The city. Could they?
Are we live?
You are live, sir.
We're live.
And in living color.
That has begun. Good evening. Welcome to the meeting tonight of the Finance Committee of the Board of Aldermen. I'm calling the meeting to order. I will begin by reading the published notice for this meeting. Aldermanic Notice, New Haven. The Finance Committee will hold a public hearing on Monday, September 8, 2025 at 6:00 p.m. in the Aldermanic Chambers, 165 Church Street, New Haven, to act upon the following. 1. LM 2025-0476. Order of the New Haven Board of Alders authorizing the New Haven Board of Education's execution of the multi-year agreement with EMS Link LLC for CAFE Management Application Services from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. Item 2, LM 2025-0488. Order of the New Haven Board of Alders authorizing the mayor to execute a one-year contract extension with United Way of Greater New Haven for the period of September 1, 2025 to December 31, 2026 to provide citywide literacy and math programming to New Haven public school students under the Literacy and Math Tutoring Initiative funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. Item 3. LM 2025-0261. Order of the New Haven Board of Alders authorizing the mayor to enter into a multi-year agreement with Bus Patrol America LLC to provide services related to installation, operation, and maintenance of live digital video school bus violation detection monitoring systems. The monitoring system. Wow, that's a lot of adjectives before the word systems. Item 4, LM 2025-0416. Order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving a 60-month equipment lease and services agreement for print management services for the City of New Haven, including its Board of Education. Item 5, OR 2025-0021. Ordinance amendment to appropriate ordinance number 1, reclassifying position number 9956, Geo Info System Analyst to Supervisor of Crime Analysts within the New Haven Police Department. Item 6, LM 2025-0487. Order to read and file the updated budgetary and financial reports for the month of July 2025 in compliance with Article 8, Section 5 of the Charter. These items may be inspected at the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street, 2nd floor, New Haven. Per order, the Honorable Adam Marchand, Chair. Attest, Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need a disability-related accommodation, please call 3 business days in advance at 946-7651 voice or 946-8582 TTY. Public comment/testimony may also be submitted via email to publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2:00 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Meeting can be viewed on Board of Alders YouTube page. Next, we'll have introduction of committee members, starting on my right.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Richard Furlow, Ward 27.
Adam Marchand, Alder of Ward 25.
Chair. Sal Punzo, Ward 17.
Rhonda Smith, Ward 30.
Anna Festa, Ward 10.
Thank you everyone for being here. As you heard me describe, there are 6 items before us. 4 are contracts. 1 is a reclassification of a position. And the last one is the monthly financial report for July. We will proceed in the order in which I read them in the notice. Before we begin, let me just say a couple of brief things in terms of housekeeping. If you have a cell phone or other electronic device that could make noises or beeps or ringtones, please turn it off or put it on mute. And if you have a phone call that you need to take, please do it outside of chambers. If there's someone you need to talk to, please do that outside of chambers so we don't disturb these proceedings. When someone comes forward to make a presentation or to give testimony, we'll ask you to come forward and have a seat, and then tell us your name and address for the record, and then you will be able to proceed from there. And I think that is all that I'm going to say for now. Let's start with item number 1. This is the contract with EMS Link LLC. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record.
Name is Baron Young, address 5085 Main Street, Trumbull, Connecticut.
We're all yours.
Yes, sir. So this contract here is for a 3-year contract for our POS software in which we claim reimbursable meals for our students. We also track our inventory as well with Link. We previously used that, and so now we're just trying to go into an extended 3-year contract.
It would be helpful for us if you would tell us your role and function with the city. I think I know what it is, but it'd be good for everybody to know.
Excuse me. My name, I'm Baron Young again, Director of Food Services for the Navy Public Schools.
Thank you very much. And when you say POS, you mean point of
Point of
service?
sale, yes, sir.
Okay, point of sale, okay. Any other description you would like to have?
That's it. That's the main purpose is for us to claim our meals, and we keep track of that. And then every month we have to submit to the state for reimbursement of those meals, and that's how we track and claim all of our meals.
And so the system is just the software
This is software, yes, sir.
that gets used in the workplace to
Yes, sir.
do that tracking.
Yes, sir. It's at all of our school sites.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that brief presentation. Let's have questions from committee members on this item. Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your explanation of what this is for. What are the cost savings, and was an RFP presented, or is this the company that we normally do?
RFP was presented. We went through that procurement process. They were the selected vendor. There were actually 2 that submitted through the RFP process. They were the lowest bidder. In regards to cost savings, the other bidder was like $150,000, and this one is around $48,000 a year.
Okay, so 48, yeah, I think I saw the total somewhere. I have glasses, but I can't see with them or without them. So it's, but, 146,893.50. And that is for the total cost for the 3 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it is a cost savings compared to the other?
Yes, ma'am, it is. Yes.
And during that time, do they also help with updates and upgrades?
They provide updates. They actually have I can talk to someone on Link. I'm sorry, Titan used to be Link, and they bought out. But yes, I'm able to talk to someone if I have any issues or need additional questions. Their response time is very quick, as well as we have a individual consultant that helps us as well.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Festa. Further questions from colleagues on this item? Further questions from colleagues? I'll just note for the record that we did receive a PDF copy of the contract, which was sent to us previously, which I perused. Looked like everything was in good order. Any further questions from colleagues on this item? Seeing none, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And you get to leave early.
Thank you, sir. You guys have a
Well, before he does leave, let's see if there's anyone for the public who wishes to speak on this item. Does anybody here wish to speak on this request for authorization of a contract with this company? And for a second time, anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? And for a third time, anyone here wishing to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll continue with item number 2, which is a 1-year contract extension with the United Way of Greater New Haven. I think our Deputy Chief of Staff of the Mayor's Office is coming forward. And another individual. Welcome.
Thank you.
Names and addresses for the record.
I'm Shelley Hicks, 70 Beaver Street, Hamden, Connecticut.
My name is Haley Vincent Simpson. I serve as the Deputy Chief of Staff here. My address is 93 Plymouth Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you. We eagerly await your presentation.
So we stand before you today requesting an extension with the United's Way current contract to provide literacy and math tutoring. This contract was executed back in 2023 in an effort to improve the students' reading and math scores as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The resolution that was passed said that the contract started from June 2023 to summer of 2025. In the recent budget that you all have graciously passed, you did allocate 1.5 to United Way for this tutoring initiative, the Mayor's Tutoring Initiative. So we stand before you for authorization to extend that contract.
I speak on behalf of United Way of Greater New Haven and serve as Vice President of Education, and very grateful for the Alder's support in providing an extension to this New Haven Tutoring Initiative funding. We've served upwards of 1,500 students over the last 2 years. We've grown to serve or partner with more than 25 community partners. We are slated to be in about 15 schools in New Haven Public Schools for after-school tutoring, and are serving kindergarten through 8th grade students. We partner with New Haven Reads to lead our reading tutoring, and New Haven Caps to lead our math tutoring, and are really grateful for, again, the support of the city, the mayor, the alders, and want to continue partnering with the community partners, the school district, and the city.
Thank you for that presentation. I'll just ask a quick question to maybe draw out a little bit more. Can you say a little bit more about what the United Way actually does in regards to this initiative? I imagine coordinating this involves a lot of different things, and it's helpful for us to know what those things are.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, generally speaking, if we're going to extend the contract, we know the initiative is important, but why would the United Way be like the right organization to keep partnering?
Yeah, absolutely. So over the last 2 years, we've provided fiscal oversight, accountability, data collection, and we've been partnering with, again, New Haven Reads and New Haven Counts, the city, and growing the number of community partners that we've been working with to coordinate the services so that there isn't duplication of services. We're taking the data that we were found, and we are pivoting when we need to, and again, coordinating that with New Haven Reads and New Haven Counts for the academic portion.
Did you want us to speak a little bit more about how United Way is sort of that bridge for the
Yes.
smaller organizations?
Yes, that would be helpful.
Okay, so
Because it's like
I just wanted to make sure I understood your
math
question.
and literacy tutoring is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But this is a contract with an entity.
Yes.
Why is this the right entity? Why shouldn't we contract with someone else?
Right.
Like, we're not going to question
Of
the
course.
validity of tutoring,
Mhm.
Of
but why
course.
this organization?
So we've taken the $3 million that you've invested in the community and grown from 8 partners. We've put an RFP out every session. It's been a public RFP, and we've grown the number of applicants that we've had. We've supported these partners in the reporting that they needed to provide. We've supported the partners in working with New Haven Counts and New Haven Reads to build their staff, to train their staff, to support them throughout each of those sessions, whether it's fall, spring, or summer. And we've done this again over 2 years while also helping the providers present their proposed budgets, how they spend their money, and then report on the actual budgets. And for some smaller organizations, this is not an easy feat. It's not something that they're used to doing always, and so we're also providing that support for them throughout this process. Any other questions I can answer?
There will be more questions.
Of course, specifically to that, because I don't want to leave anything
No,
out.
I think that's
Okay.
a good place to start,
Sure.
and we'll hand it off to our committee members for further questions. But thank you for your presentation so far. Questions from colleagues? Request to extend the contract for another year with United Way. Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for what you're doing for our New Haven Public School students. You know, there's a lot of challenges that the public school system faces, and this helps our students get up to speed. You mentioned data collection. I don't know what is the data that you actually collect, and is it something that benefits even the Board of Ed or our New Haven Public School?
So we're collecting that initial assessment when students are first being enrolled in the tutoring initiative, and then we're doing, midterm assessments and then end of term assessments for these students to see what that growth is. New Haven Reads and New Haven Council can speak to that a little bit more than I can because it's academic assessments, but I will say that we have seen measurable gains, especially in students that are attending more than 50% of the time. We're taking that data again, and we've had students that are returning session after session and adjusting the way that we support those students as well.
So if I may, one of the goals that we have been looking at this year is sort of making sure we are targeting the students who need it the most. So we have this year have been working very closely with NHPS to make sure those students who are in need of this tutoring services are receiving it, making sure we have like staff in-house that would be able to, you know, bring those students there. So looking at different opportunities to make sure it's, I don't want to use the word target, but making sure it's really strategic, and those who would benefit from it the most are receiving those services.
So would you consider the New Haven Public School a partner in this? I mean, versus, it sounds like they're one of the partners you're working with.
I would consider them a partner. I believe that they're a deeper partner with this new iteration of NHTI because we are working really closely to coordinate the services that we provide to the students.
You know, NHPS, so they identify the students that need the extra help.
Not currently. Yeah, I think right now not currently. I think right now they just put the word out there that this tutoring initiative is out, you know, is available. If you want to sign your kids up, you should. I think this go around, we are trying to make sure we're very strategic around making sure those kids who the instructors have identified as needing those services are receiving those services. So that was a gap before, and the data is how do we make sure those students who need it the most are receiving it? Now that we've brought New Haven Public Schools in as more of a partner, they've been playing more of an active role in making sure we implement it in a more meaningful way.
So it's another benefit that we are providing services to the New Haven Public School system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now as far as, I mean, we can have a conversation about this all night, but I promise I won't go there, Mr. Chair. The $1.5 million, is this in the 25-26 budget that you're talking about? That was a lot, and you're just coming here to say we'd like to use it for the extension?
Yes.
And is that how much it costs to run this program?
There's definitely some in-kind services and volunteerism that is happening, but we've been able to successfully and responsibly implement the program. And we believe we can do that with these dollars.
And these dollars are used for New Haven kids, or do outside of New Haven kids also take advantage of this?
These dollars are specifically for New Haven public school students.
Okay. So if I had a child that seemed challenged, I could sign them up as a parent, or is it, you know, again, it's how do you identify the kids that take advantage?
So the past 2 years, it's been students that are enrolled in these community after-school programs. And we are working to deepen our relationship with New Haven Public Schools so that, as Haley said, they can also help with identifying students that might be in need. But as of right now, they are students that are currently enrolled in after-school programs across the city.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for explaining all that. I don't know, and maybe through you, Mr. Chair, we could get some of this data. It'd be interesting to see the growth pattern of some students, because more than likely they are New Haven Public School students, and it'd be interesting to see for us how successful this program is, even for future endeavors.
So now I imagine that you've produced a report
We have, and
that's publicly available.
It is. It's publicly available. We have an NHGI annual report, annual impact report. It's through December of 24, and we should have emailed it to each of the alders in the spring, but we'll make sure that you all have access to that again.
And that's through United Way. I mean, yeah.
Yes,
United Way.
it's
On your website.
It's on our
Okay,
website.
perfect.
Yes, it's on our website.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Festa. Further questions from colleagues on this item? Alder Smith? And I also see Alder Pro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one quick question. Is there a fee associated per child?
Great question. No, there is no fee. This is a free program for New Haven Public School students.
And how would you allocate these funds?
So I would say 90% of the funds for the first 2 years went right back into tutoring and training. And so we would do the same again. We would provide tutoring and training, and these funds would go to the community partners that are providing these services for the students. There's a small administrative fee, that we take at United Way, but it's very small, and that's also included in the impact report on our website.
Last question, Mr. Chair. How many community partners do you have?
I believe we're up to 25 community partners. We started with, if I'm not mistaken, 8 in the summer of 2023.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Smith. Alder Pro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation. Excuse me. So I just want to kind of piggyback on a question that was already asked. So this is for New Haven Public School students, which could really mean anyone who comes into New Haven, regardless of where they live, who's a student. So this would be intramagnet school students. So you can live in Waterbury, as long as you're coming here to go to school, then this program will be available for you.
That's a great question.
So it's not residents, it's not New Haven residents, it's New Haven Public School students.
Correct. And I would
And
be
I don't have a
remiss if I
problem with
didn't,
that.
I would be remiss if I didn't further clarify that it's also benefiting students that are public school students in New Haven, because we have had some of our community partners partner with charter schools that are located in New Haven. So Booker T. Washington and Hydro Charter School, I believe, may be partnering with some of our community partners for after school programming. And so it is for students that are public school students attending school in New Haven. And I'm not sure that as of right now, there's a way that we can clarify that or change that, but I do think it's a benefit for all students that are attending school in New Haven.
And the 1,000, and thank you for this very well written description of the program. It's very helpful. The 1,000 to 1,500, is there a cutoff if it goes beyond 1,500?
No, there's no cutoff.
You'll have to make do with the money that's given.
Exactly. So we're working with our partners to make sure that these dollars are stretched as far as possible to impact as many students as possible.
And my final question, Mr. Chair, I'm just trying to imagine how this works with United Way, because they're huge. So I'm imagining like this tree, and they have all these different affiliates that call themselves United Way affiliates, and they will be part of that, and then this money will be distributed to the affiliates who will provide tutoring. They will find interns, send them to the schools, and they would all be under the banner of United Way even though they may call themselves something else, but they're an affiliate somehow. Not, so we have organizations that are partners, and then I'm imagining there's organizations that are United Way affiliates, because I think there's probably a difference.
Not for this New Haven tutoring initiative. Anyone that we work with, we consider partners, whether we are thought partners or providing financial awards or resources. If we're a fiscal sponsor, then we treat them all as partners.
So I think that the broader question I'm asking is, where does the buck stop with this? So if this program does not work, then do we go to United Way? Do we go to a partner? Who's taking full accountability of this program?
That's a really great question. I would say that as of right now, United Way we hold the grant with the city of New Haven, and so, which is why we work really diligently to coordinate the services and make sure that they're being used responsibly. But it does sit with us at United Way for New Haven.
And I really appreciate this program. We're in an educational crisis, so we want to make sure that we know who we need to go to.
Absolutely.
As they're spending our money.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder. Further questions from colleagues? Alder Punzo.
Just to clarify my own mind. So United Way has the money, okay? These partners make an application. And it's evaluated by United Way.
And outside partners. We work with community reviewers as well.
Okay, and if they're accepted, then they ask for X number of dollars for their program. Just to piggyback off my colleague's question, and then the students they get are from the New Haven Public Schools. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then after, they're evaluated, and at the end, is there a length of the program, or it goes all year long?
So we've typically been granting funds for the fall semester, which would run October through December. The spring, which is longer, January through May, and then the summer.
Okay, and then when it ends, there's data
That's submitted, yes.
Yeah. Now, is it submitted to where the students go to school, or is it submitted to the parents, or just to see or measure their growth, or what areas they need more need in?
So that's part of the strategy that we've been working since I've started working really closely with United Way. We saw a gap in communication between us and Board of Education. We do see an opportunity there to make sure we see a growth academically. We do not currently have access to their students' data, right? So currently our partners at New Haven Reads, New Haven Counts, they're creating their own data. From when the student gets enrolled into this tutoring initiative as to when they complete the tutoring initiative, but not academically. So that's what we're working on right now that we have, we've been working extremely closely to New Haven Public Schools to see how we can access the data and not necessarily the student's personal information.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a well-needed program. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Punzo. Further questions from colleagues? Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a point of clarification, because we keep saying New Haven Public School students, but it's mainly the kids who are taking advantage of like New Haven Reads, New Haven Counts. So we say it's New Haven Public School kids, but it may not be. It could be private schools. It could be, just to kind of, maybe I'm thinking too far into your question, Majority Leader Perillo, regarding, the student body, because we keep saying New Haven Public School students, but it may not necessarily be just New Haven Public School students.
It is, they are New Haven Public School students. So when we enter into a partnership with our community partners, they sign an MOU, and it's very clear that these dollars are to be used for students that are attending public school in New Haven.
Okay, that's very helpful. So thank you for that clarification. Because again, we can have this conversation, and it's important to know that, because this funding comes from New Haven residents and the taxpayers, and we want to make sure that the funding is used for our students here in New Haven. So thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you.
I mean, Mr. Chair.
I just got promoted. Poor sentence. All joking aside, thank you, Alder Festa. I thank you for your answers to our questions. And wish nothing but the best for these organizations and your partners doing this work with our young people. It's really important. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Is there a member of the public who wishes to testify on this item? Extension by 1 year of the contract with United Way to coordinate this initiative. And for a second time, is there a member of the public who wishes to testify on this item? And for a third time, anyone here who wishes to testify, now's your chance. Please come forward. Seeing none, we'll move to item 3, which is a multi-year agreement with Bus Patrol America. This is cameras on buses to catch people breaking the rules. Good evening. I see our TT&P director making his way forward. Another gentleman. And once you have all gotten settled, please ask for your names and addresses for the record. Starting with you.
Good evening again, Alders. My name is Haley Vincent Simpson. I serve as the Deputy Chief of Staff here, and my address is 93 Plymouth Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you.
My name is Brad McDowell. I serve as the Community Partnerships Manager for Bus Patrol, and my address is 86 Townhouse Road in Hamden.
Good evening, Sandeep Ursula, Director of Transportation, Traffic and Parking, 42 William Street, New Haven.
Eric Hoffman, Deputy Director of Transportation, Traffic and Parking, 199 Karen Lee Road, Glastonbury.
Okay, thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you again for having me. We are pleased to submit to you all for consideration an order authorizing the mayor to enter into a multi-year agreement with Bus Patrol pursuant to Public Act number 24-107, the Act, and the board's August 4th, 2025 approval of the amendment to Chapter 29, Traffic and Motor Vehicle, adding Article BII entitled School Bus Violation Detection, Monitoring, and Enforcement Systems. So we did bring that ordinance amendment to you all some time ago, and we outlined our timeline in terms of ordinance amendment to RFP to implementation. So we are here today after fulfilling a competitive RFP process. We've selected the most responsive candidate or vendor rather, and we are here seeking authorization. So I'll turn it over to our TTMP team.
I don't have much to add, but I think one thing to highlight is that we went through a bid process here, and we finally selected Bus Patrol based on the qualifications and the price overall. So happy to answer questions, especially related to both technology, financial related stuff, and anything else that's related to this matter.
And Brad will go over, or if you'd like for us to go into the program, or would you like to ask us questions first?
I think some more information about the program would be helpful.
All right.
I'm also going to ask the city staff to confirm the amount of the contract, which is not in the resolution, but it's in the supporting materials. It looks to be 3.96 million, but over 3 years, and then 6.9 million in violation revenue coming in. That's in our supporting documents, but we didn't get a contract. So that's something we would like to get in the future, is the actual contract so we can review it. It's usually a big PDF that we get electronically, but we didn't get one here. So that's just something I want to say. We want to get those. And it's helpful to know exactly what the amount of the contract is. So if you want to address that at some point, that'd be good. We want to hear about the program.
I'd be excited, and I can certainly start with a little bit about who we are, what we do, and then I can talk about what we cost. And so Bus Patrol has been around since 2017, and our really only focus is keeping the bus stop safe. Enforcing the stop arm, which is the arm that comes out and tells drivers, hey, don't pass the school bus. It is not necessarily just those red lights, it is the stop arm that tells drivers not to pass the school bus that students are being picked up or dropped off. And so it is sort of an endemic thing here in the United States, in every community across the country that we see. Last year, there were estimated 45 million stop arm violations across the country, and that's something that we've continued to see state by state, town by town here in Connecticut. It's not something that we see as specific to one region or one state. It is something we see in every community that we do work in. So as someone who actually started this as an elected official in Hampden myself, I started this as a community advocate. A parent brought this to me that they felt that their students weren't being adequately protected. And the state law just wasn't there. We couldn't automate in a way that allowed every student to be protected. It was very heavy lift in terms of someone having to watch the tapes and having bus drivers have to fill out affidavits. Just didn't work. So it was a multi-year effort to try to change the state law and allow something that allowed today's technology to protect every bus stop in a way where folks know, okay, if I pass a yellow school bus, I'm getting a ticket. And so that's really what we worked towards, and we were successful last summer. I think Connecticut became the 19th. It's a little tricky because there were like 3 states that passed within a few weeks of each other, but I think Connecticut was the 19th state in the country to pass a law like that. We're now at about 23 states, and we expect a few more to pass before the end of the year. So it is definitely something that is not new, but Connecticut is sort of right there in that wave of the technology is there. We've been out there. We've done it in over 400 communities across the country. 40,000 buses, over 2 million students every day being protected by our system. Over 90% of the school buses across the country that are protected by a stop arm violation system are protected by Bus Patrol. So we are the folks who know how to do this, and we only protect every single bus when we partner with the community. So we're not leaving buses out. We're not protecting students based on how much revenue their zip code will bring in. We are protecting every single bus, and then we're also covering some spares so that when buses are pulled out for maintenance or other reasons, those routes can continue to be covered. And we've been able to find anywhere between a 15 and about a 25% reduction in that first year is usually our average. Up to our highest has been about a 40% reduction in stop arm violations in that first year, but we're usually able to see an average of 40% violation reduction in that first 4 years. And so in Bridgeport alone, we've already seen a 15% reduction in the first year. Last year was our first live program. We had run a pilot program in Bridgeport sort of to demonstrate to the state legislature that, hey, this is a problem in Connecticut, you need to pass a law. So we equipped some buses with cameras, both to catch data, to show how much it was happening, how frequently it's happening, but also footage. And the footage could be quite harrowing. We see some pretty shocking footage of drivers blatantly blowing past school buses and unfortunately sometimes making contact with students. And so that footage assured legislators that this was a matter that needed to be acted on judiciously. So it took some time, as it does, but we were successful last summer, and so Bridgeport then transitioned their pilot program to a live program. And so that program has been resoundingly successful in its first year, and we've since partnered with Shelton and Danbury as well, and we expect a few others to partner as well. Waterbury selected us as well. We expect a few others to come out in the next couple of months. So that's how we work. We equip a full suite of cameras onto your buses. And that camera is equipped with an AI technology that we call AVA, Automated Violation Analysis. The reason we use AI instead of LiDAR or radar, that traditional technology, LiDAR or radar can't tell the difference between a vehicle and another object. So that's like old technology where you're spent like, oh, a bird flew by the camera, right? Something like that. You're spending a lot of time watching tapes, having to do that. So we're able to sort of have Ava do that first pass and get rid of all the nonsense. We know exactly what a car is, but also we're able to do multiple infractions at once, up to 8 lanes of traffic at a time. And so if we have multiple vehicles in multiple lanes passing the bus at once, you can't hide behind another car. We're able to capture all of those infractions at once and hold everybody accountable equitably. And so that's really key, because you can't like sneak in behind that other car knowing, oh, the LiDAR is not that fast. If I sneak in behind this car, I'm not going to get a ticket. If you pass that yellow school bus, you will get a ticket. And that is the key to reducing the stop arm violations. With that said, there are 2 humans at Bus Patrol to review every single tape, and both of those humans have to approve and say, yes, this is a violation. The driver saw the stop sign. They weren't blocked by a box truck. They weren't blocked by some crests in the roadway or some other turn. They had visibility on the stop sign, and they chose not to stop. And so this is a legitimate infraction. And only when both of those humans say, yes, this is a legitimate infraction, it gets sent over to New Haven for final review. Only when New Haven says, yes, this is a legitimate infraction, go ahead and send that ticket. We then handle the mailing, printing, all of that free payment processing, and we'll handle the scheduling of the hearings if you would like as well. In terms of cost, the program is completely cost-free. We come in, we install the program for you completely for free. We implement for you for free. We provide the technology and the equipment for free. What we do on the back end is we charge you a portion of the ticket revenue. So you'll see, I believe, what we agreed to was $225 per bus per month and $55 per ticket paid is what we'll take out of program revenue. So at the end of every month, you'll get sort of a reverse invoice. I don't like using the word invoice because it'll never be something that we can charge you for. And I'll go over that in a minute. But it'll be sort of this reverse invoice that shows, okay, this is all the tickets that we collected this month, minus $225 per bus, minus the $55 per ticket that we were successful in collecting, and this is the leftover amount that we will remit to you. Based on the number of communities that are comparable to New Haven in size, that's going to be a majority of the revenue. So New Haven will see a majority of the revenue of the program come back to the city. In terms of protecting you, because I know that $225 per bus per month, New Haven has a lot of buses, a lot of students, right? I understand that can be a big number. You are protected in your contract. You will never, ever be asked to pay that sum of money. If there is some circumstance where your buses aren't on the road, you are protected. The town, the city, the school district, the bus company, the police department, you will never, ever be on the hook for that bill if the program goes negative. The only situation I can think of where that ever happened was COVID. There were a number of programs where buses were off the roads for a month or 2 at a time. And so some of those programs went negative. At the end of that program, at the end of that contract, if there is a negative balance, it's wiped clean. And hopefully we can renew the contract with you at a 0 balance and start over. But the city will never, ever pay a balance. And we're confident based on what we've done here. That's why we're willing to upfront the cost. So there's no cost to the city. There's no capital outlay for anything in the program. We're confident that this program will be revenue producing for both of us. And that it will produce results. We are very confident that in a year's time, we'll be able to come back to you, and we'll be able to come back to you in 6 months before that and already see progress. But it does take time to set up the hearings for people to really start seeing. So I would say 6 months is sort of the beginning of when you'll see progress in terms of the number of stop arm enforcement, stop arm infractions that you're seeing. And then at the end of a 12-month period, you'll see when you compare that 6 months to that 12-month, you'll see a big progress in terms of that stop arm infraction, the number of violations that are happening in your community. There will be a bit of a spike in September. People tend to forget. You have new college students coming to town, right? New drivers that got their license over the summer. So there will be a bit of a spike in September. You'll see that come right back down by November. So just something, I want to let you know now, like, oh my God, why is it going back up in September? It'll settle back down. Something we expect with new drivers, especially in a city with such a high college population. And we can take out-of-state drivers. So folks with out-of-state plates are not going to be an issue for us as well. Sorry, I know I threw a lot at you there, but I wanted to cover those 3 topics. I'm happy to answer any questions. I would also love to leave my contact information with you today if that's appropriate. And if you think of anything throughout the coming weeks, months, after the program rolls out, if you have questions or concerns, I live right down the street. So please feel free. You'll have my personal cell phone number. You'll be able to reach me anytime. This is, like I said, an issue that I was personally engaged in on an advocate level, and so I'm really engaged in making sure that this program rolls out successfully and is successful in achieving the goal, which is to keep students safer and to reduce stop arm violations.
We're grateful for that additional information. Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks for your time.
You can tell that you're very passionate about it. I'm just turning to our city staff now and TTP and see if there's anything they would like to add to that.
I just wanted to step back a bit and try and reflect on the larger goals of the program. So last year, the Board of Alders graciously approved the speed and red light camera program. It's still going through Ulster Office of State Traffic Administration's approval, and hopefully we'll have an answer on that program. And this is part of that larger Vision Zero goals and Safe Routes for All plan that we approved. That there's a lot of these stuff on the enforcement side is part of that larger strategic goal around, it's food safety and also, other areas of, importance, which is, neighborhood safety and, areas around that are not around schools, especially. Now, I think there's a lot of things around the revenue side. I just want to kind of really be honest here. And one of the things is you will see at some point, because of the way people early, to the bus patrol's point, early you might see a spike and slowly you'll see the results as you move forward. But one thing, again, we want to basically really emphasize here is it's not about whether we raise revenue or we do not raise revenue. It's about, overall the safety. And that's what we wanted to emphasize when we actually came here, got your approval on, approval for those locations on the speed and red light camera program. But also really, you would expect at some point, it'll come down. The revenues are going to come down, right? The cost is still going to remain the same because you have the cost of actually maintaining the program, and also statute clearly says that both the previous, for the red light camera program and speed camera program, automated traffic enforcement and school bus cameras, I think all the funding, all the revenue raised needs to be used for safety, whether it's traffic safety, public safety, depending on the statute or the framing of the language. But you will see a drop in revenue. And that is what's important to understand, because the drop in revenues shows that there's a compliance, people are actually complying with the program, and those are the results. So I would basically, urge you to kind of like measure. The measure is not based on whether we raise revenue or not. The measure should be performance measure, or the performance measure should be based around, whether these citations are actually coming down, right? I mean, year over year. The program is 3 years according to statute, so it has to be renewed every 3 years. So that's why we are here for a 3-year approval. I will share, I was just talking to Eric about it earlier, that we didn't attach the draft agreement, but the draft agreement includes our standard form language, which we are, our lawyers have prepared the draft, based on our standard form agreement, which is obviously not going to change. And then the proposal that includes the scope of services, which is related to some of the costs and everything. Eric will go over some of those assumptions we made, and these are very, very conservative assumptions. Again, at least from the city's perspective, we do not want to oversell anything, and I've learned that hard way on many programs, so Allfest has, sort of, a witness to that. The real goal is, again, you will see a drop in revenue. The costs are going to be flat, because you have 300 plus buses. Those costs are going to remain the same. The revenue is going to go down because your citations are actually going to go down after, let's say, after 2 or 3 years. But you still have to run the program because you want to keep that as part of the larger strategic goal around safety. We made some assumptions. Today there was a news article about Shelton issuing around 140 citations the first week. I think it was a short week, so last week. So that is about 4 days, 140 citations. We kind of did back of the envelope estimates, and that is where the $7 million worth of revenue is coming from. And the cost is $4 million. My math is right. That does not include some of the personnel costs that we included. So overall, the net revenue is not going to be over 3 years, not going to be $1 million over average, but it'll be slightly lower considering some of the personal costs that we didn't include part of this budget cycle because this program ended up in the middle of the budget cycle after the budget was approved. But we anticipate there'll be some cost for personnel because the adjudication currently falls on us, which is TTNB currently, it's just me and Eric and a bunch of other staff, part of the traffic safety Division 0 program, safety engineer especially. And so depending on how many citations we write, how many citations that come in through bus patrols, early filtering, we will have to have some additional personnel part of this, not just this program, both programs. That is what I'm trying to look at very high level, both collectively at a holistic sort of program here. Eric will go over some of the assumptions behind the total revenue and the expenses, but I just wanted to kind of float this across, kind of be very upfront that we are not, at least from our perspective, we're not really looking at it to be making a lot of money. Right? We just want to make sure that there's compliance both on red light speed and school bus, enforcement. And this is again, like I said, it's part of a larger program in making our streets safer. Supplementing our existing enforcement, personnel from the PD do a great job around these things, but still, it's a resource constraint, and we want to make sure that these technologies are sort of supplementing existing programs out there.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Bus Patrol likes to use the phrase free. We'll stick closer to the more conservative phrase of cost neutral, which is our goal at TTNP. So we worked up a simple model. There's 5 copies. Over the 3-year period of the contract, and we assumed in the first year that we'd issue about 10,000 citations at $250 per citation, which is based on the ordinance.
We got more. We got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So we looked over the 3-year life of the contract, and the first item we looked at was the fines that would be issued. And we developed a model where we began the first year with 10,000 citations to be issued, which seems to be about middle of the road of some of the estimates that we figure would fit the number of buses we have, the population and the traffic. We also made the assumption of a 5% decrease each year as you go down. As you can see, that's how the revenues go down, and that's pretty close to the alignment that we included, the final number that we included in the package. From some of the costs that Brad talked about, the first one is a fixed cost. It's $225 per camera per month. It's the $110,000 for each fiscal year. Then there's the citation processing fee and the back office systems. That's all the other stuff that Brad just talked about, the database, the portal, their systems in which they do their review, and the storage of all those items. That comes to that's $55 per citation issued. That's why you see that number go down, because as each year there's less citations issued, there's less of that fee covered. So we come up with the total expenses, and then we wind up towards the bottom as a net revenue. And as you can see over the 3 years, as the director said, the revenue should come down because we should get compliance from motorists on the street, which is our goal. We want to make sure the streets are safer. We want to make sure people are obeying those flashing red lights and stopping for the school buses.
Can I interrupt you for one
Sure.
moment? I neglected to recognize our colleague, Alder Jeanette Morrison, who has joined us. Please continue.
So that's the model that we have for the life of this contract, which is approximately going to be 3 years. It's going to run in line with the Board of Ed's contract with First Student buses. We determined that for efficiency, it would be better to, instead of keep coming back and switching, if we switch vendors in the middle of a bus contract, or it could lead to problems with getting equipment installed and uninstalled, and could lead to a lag in enforcement time.
Sorry, I do want to clarify that the 225 is per bus, not per camera. We'll be installing several cameras on every bus. We'll also be providing you with the option of a comprehensive internal and external camera system. We find that a lot of districts just like having one camera vendor, and it was an objection that we don't want to have two camera vendors. So what we do as part of the program is we offer a completely included, no additional cost, internal and external camera system with no blind spots on the inside of the bus. High definition, live view access from a login from a secure portal. So there will be several cameras installed on every bus, whether you accept or decline the internal camera option. But it is $225 per bus.
Yeah, I have those notes, 225 per bus. So that was
Just as a quick question, what do the internal cameras? They're for someone to monitor student behavior, to see if there's an incident. They have a record of what happened. Is that what they're for?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, not for stop arm enforcement. So stop arm enforcement cameras are active. They wake up when the yellows come on. When the bus driver activates those warning lights, they wake up. They begin recording. So you have that full context in terms of how long the drivers were warned, how long they had to stop, and you have a front, a rear, and a side camera. So you have that full context, right? You can see how long that driver had to stop, or if they didn't have any warning at all. And that context really helps us in terms of, was this a legitimate infraction, or was this sudden and the driver had no opportunity to stop? Other than that, we install another set of cameras externally and internally on the bus. It's completely optional. And again, it's because we know a lot of districts like to have one camera vendor on their bus. And this is a lot of bus companies too, right? We work with a number of bus companies. First Student run thousands of First Student buses. We have a really great partnership with First Student. And I think in our RFP response, we included a letter of endorsement from First Student as well. And so really excited to be working with First Student here. But what we heard from a lot of bus companies initially is, hey, we really don't like having an internal camera vendor and a stop arm camera vendor. We'd really like to have one camera vendor. And so over the years, that's something that we've really adopted, and we've begun offering those internal cameras completely included for free. I know that for free, but it is free. It's included. The $225 per bus per month is the same for the stop arm infraction or the stop arm enforcement system, whether you take or don't take those internal cameras. They'll be installed throughout the bus. There's a front that goes out the windshield and shows you the camera in the door, and then there's several throughout the bus, so there's no blind spots. And they are those, as opposed to the stop arms, which are only active when the warning lights and the red lights are active. These cameras are active anytime the bus is on, and they are recorded. That video is available in the cloud, and there's also a hard drive on the bus where that video is stored as well. So there's a hard copy as well if police ever needed like a hard evidence or custody of evidence or anything like that.
I want to make sure we're answering your question. Are you asking us if that's part of this contract?
That's an excellent question. Do you have an answer to that?
We do not have internal cameras as part of this contract. This contract is specifically to make sure we are implementing the ordinance amendment that you have approved, which is for the stop arms and not for internal cameras, just so we're clear and just so that's on record.
because the statute only allows, this scope of the program is only for stop arm enforcement. So that's what we are coming here for approval.
And I imagine it would be school district policy on whether or not they allow cameras inside the buses.
Correct.
Which is not really what we're authorizing.
Apologies for stepping outside the purview of the meeting. I just wanted to articulate that if you were to accept additional cameras, that there would not be an additional increase in that payment.
Okay, so thank you for all this information. We're now going to have questions from committee members. I think we'll have some. So the floor is open to my colleagues for whoever wishes to ask about this item. Alder Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. I have a couple of questions for you. Who issues the citations?
The city. So Bus Patrol will mail the citations on your behalf, but it really is the city issuing the citations. The city is ultimately going to watch that video. Now that video has gone through that review process, which I described from Bus Patrol. So you're really only getting what we believe are the legitimate infractions that should be nailed. But New Haven has the ultimate say in terms of, yes or no. So what you'll have is video reviewers who are trained to watch the video. Takes between 30 and 60 seconds on average is what we see for people in the system. You're going to click into an evidence package, watch a video. It has those 3 videos which we talked about. It'll also have driver information and some other contextual information like the time of day, the location of the infraction, and some other information. And then there's a red decline button and a green accept button. The green accept button will be you issuing the citation, which we will then print and mail on your behalf.
This is a moving violation, right?
It's a civil infraction, so it's not a criminal infraction. It is a $250 civil infraction. There will be no points on the license. The reason we do that is a criminal infraction has to go to court. You have to prove that a specific person was driving. This works much more like a parking ticket. It follows the vehicle, not the driver. If we want to make these tickets stick, we can't have it be so easy that someone can just say, oh, well, I wasn't the one driving my car, which unfortunately has been the case with some of the older programs. So if we stick the license plate with the vehicle, then ultimately your vehicle wasn't where it was supposed to be when it was supposed to be there. And so the vehicle owner is responsible. Now there is a transfer of liability we can talk about. If you want to transfer the liability to the person who was driving your car, and we can talk about that, but it is a civil infraction, not a criminal.
I also, if I can, sorry.
I'm sorry. Once again, the vehicle has to travel down the street, which becomes a moving violation, in which PD is able to issue those tickets for moving violations. So this would be a moving violation, am I correct?
No, these citations are civil city citations issued through this system. What a police officer would observe, yes, that is a moving violation under the state statute as an infraction. These specific citations issued by this automated stop arm enforcement system is authorized under the city ordinance, and they are a civil citation. They are not a moving violation.
So it's very similar to overall both, again, to bring it back full circle here, the idea here is that the way the state statute is set up, this program, so if the same citation was issued by a police officer, you're right, that would be a moving violation. The way the state statute has been set up, they've set up the guardrails for this program to be a civil violation. So it is very similar to getting parking tickets. So you don't get points. You don't get any referrals to your license, for insurance related. So it's very similar to the automated traffic enforcement, device program too. But that is how they've set it up. So if you get pulled over by a cop, it's a moving violation. If you get cited by this program by a camera, it is a civil violation. And that is how the state statute was set up. It's not necessarily the ordinance. We have followed whatever the language of the state statute was to set up our ordinance around the state statute.
Can you give me the total cost of this program?
We estimated $4 million for, if you look at the expenses in the spreadsheet, you will see there are 2 types of expenses that Eric was talking about. One is the actual cost of the camera itself, which comes to about $810,000 per year over 3 years. And then the citation processing fee and back office thing, which is the $55 per paid citation, the cost. As you can see, the first year there's going to be about $500,000, depending on, based on the 10,000 citations issued. Presuming all those 10,000 citations are actually paid, your expenses are going to be around $550,000 at $55 for every citation. They will come down 5% year over year, over 3 years, based on Eric's estimate. So overall, on average, those citation processing fees average around to about $450,000 to $500,000 a year. So that's $1.5 million. Total cost over 3 years is going to be $4 million.
How many police officers we can get with that $4 million?
So I'm so sorry. If I can piggyback off of that, that is not a $4 million cost to the city. The city will never pay a dime ever for this program, no matter how it performs. If it performs excellent, if it performs poorly, the city will never pay a dime. This is completely cost-free to the city. This is a violator-funded program. The program can only ever be paid those dollar amounts, and I know it sounds like a lot when you multiply it over the course of 36 months. Those dollar amounts can only ever be paid by people who break the law. So when somebody pays that $250 citation at the end of that month, that's where our $225 per bus, and that's where the $55 per paid citation will come out of, and then the city gets the remaining revenue. This will be a revenue producing program for the city. The only way this can work is that the city produces revenue or it's cost neutral. The city can never contractually pay a dime for this program.
I just want to make sure we're answering your question that you're asking, right? Are you asking if this would be in somehow replacing police officers? Because that is not the intent of the ordinance. It was the state revised this for that, so that municipalities would be able to issue citations by way of the bus stop arms.
So no, that's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
Let me give you a little brief of my knowledge. As I remember, working within the city of New Haven, how police officers used to be on the outside when buses are going within the districts, and were able to give these moving violations to vehicles that were traveling or going past the bus. And what I'm hearing from your presenter here is that after every citation that is given, that they're given a percentage of it, where when the police officers give it, the revenue came back to the city of New Haven. So that's where I'm going to with this. And then if we're paying $4 million, just hypothetically, $4 million, we can hire more police officers to do this job. So maybe I am going a little bit out, but what I'm looking at is saving taxpayers' dollars and where that's going to be benefit at, even with these children.
If I may,
Sure.
the city, the tickets that were issued by the police before by way of these stop arm infractions, weren't those tickets paid to the state?
Yeah.
They weren't paid to the city. So this ordinance would allow the city to be able to collect those citations to the city. When a police officer did it prior, that went to the state.
Okay, so we couldn't make or allow the police with this new ordinance to collect the tickets, to write the tickets so the city can collect the money, all of the money, the revenue?
Alder Honda Smith, that would require a change in state law.
It would also require the hiring of substantial amount of officers, and you would also have to purchase equipment with which to do and run that program. You would also be talking about hiring a substantial amount of staff and essentially a new town department or a sub-department just to run this entire program, which is not something the city currently does. It's I'm happy to dive deeper. I don't want to answer a question that you don't want to. I'm happy to, but I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, respectfully. This is quite an involved process, and we have a really robust team, from law enforcement liaison people to folks who watch tapes to folks who make sure that our cameras are just working and maintaining them every day. With our program, there's no cost for the cameras, there's no cost for the maintenance when they break. If you guys go with a different bus vendor in the future, we'll move to your new buses, or if your current bus vendor refreshes their buses, we'll move your cameras or install new cameras on your new buses as you refresh them for no cost. It's included in the program. Those are all things that would be out of pocket, in addition to the police labor, which is not part of you. There's not going to be any police labor in this program.
So Alder, just to step back, just want to be super clear here. As you heard, hypothetically with $4 million, you could hire a lot of cops. But one thing to remember is you can only station a human cop at any specific location. So you can think about any scenarios. The bus is always traveling, it's always stopping. So even if you technically you station, let's say all the $4 million, let's step back for a second. Let's presume all the $4 million comes to the city, right? I mean, those $4 million of expenses, currently everything, all the revenue goes to the state, and city gets a small, very small, tiny percentage. I don't know exactly what that number looks like, but it's it's a very small percentage. So that's true with all moving vehicle violations, which is red light camera running, speeding, or in this case, school bus cameras. Now let's presume all of that revenue comes to the city and we hire police officers with that money. You still have to have a realistic situation where you can station a cop at every junction or every stop where potentially the bus is going to stop, and that would require hundreds of police officers stationed at every bus stop along the route of the bus. And we have 300 buses, within the city of New Haven. And now step back. Let's say you still station at every place where the bus actually stops a police officer. Now, let's say they find someone in violation, you still have to go and issue them a violation. This is where the police, now the subject of safety comes in. Now, police have to basically chase those vehicles and stop those vehicles. And that becomes a present, for the police, obviously a very safety issue because they cannot be pursuing, they have to keep the interest of safety overall. So I think there's layers of complexity, and that is why, again, the state statute, I cannot second guess the reasons why they set up the statute the way it is set up. But considering all things, even at this point, the statute is set up so in the form of a civil violation. It uses technology to supplement. It's not going to replace police, and at the same time, it'll be very unrealistic to use, all the potential $4 million of expenses to actually hire police officers to actually generate $7 million worth of revenue.
If I can, just wrap this up.
Yeah, and we will wrap it up
Okay.
after this, and
Thanks.
then move to your next question.
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay.
So we'll move to the next question now,
Okay.
which is with Alder Fest.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, we talked about a lot. I understand the police, and they're not here to speak on it, so I'm glad we're moving on. Maintenance. So with maintenance, if a camera gets damaged, what happens? Who's responsible for that? As well as training office personnel, because it sounds like we're going to need office personnel to be able to identify the violation.
Sure.
So if you could touch on the overall picture of maintenance.
Absolutely. So we have a team of installers and maintainers here in the state of Connecticut, and they're tasked with not only installing new programs, but also maintaining the existing programs that we have. We have a system called Console, which maintains sort of a log of the activity on all of our cameras. And so both the stop arm cameras, the violation detection cameras, and also the internal and external cameras, should the city decide to take those, we have a sort of a live feedback on each one of those cameras, whether they're connected and actively feeding back. With the stop arm violation camera specifically, we'll have a secondary check as well, because if bus 12 on a Tuesday isn't returning back violations, we'll say, well, wait a second, why isn't bus 12 returning back violations? And so we'll be able to check in and see that, oh, that camera's down. And so oftentimes we'll notice first thing in the morning that a camera isn't working, or if there's some kind of collision in the afternoon, we'll see, because that's usually, like, our cameras are out there for years in all kinds of weather all over the country. Generally, if a camera isn't working, it's because a wire has been physically by another vendor or by the bus company doing maintenance, that a wire has been disconnected, or that a camera has been, due to an impact, harmed. And so that's okay. We see it a lot. And we'll usually identify that before you do. We'll say, oh, this camera's not feeding back.
You maintain it as part of the contract, so we wouldn't have to pay extra for a new camera if one is damaged.
Yeah, we'll come out, we'll send somebody out, we'll maintain it, we'll replace it if it needs replacing. It's part of the program. You don't pay a dime for that.
Okay. And then training of the personnel within our office. Is there a program? Because I'm sure there's some level of sophistication or whatever that some training needs to be done.
So in addition to myself, you also have a team, including a law enforcement liaison, a person. You also have someone who is sort of a partner to the hearing officers and a partner to the reviewers. And so you'll have, and there's a number of other staff as well, that'll be partners specifically for New Haven. And so those folks are tasked with training any new folks that might come on. Of course, we'll do trainings initially, but then as you hire new folks or you may reposition folks, change personnel, we're ready to train anybody new that you'd like as the program moves forward, and there's no expense to that. That's part of it.
So maintenance and training are part of the contract for no additional fee.
Do you have something to add?
Yeah, it's specifically in their scope of work with the maintenance and problems. They're supposed to, they'll be required to respond to the city within 24 hours of a camera being damaged. They have a system that will give them a heads up. Also, after 72 hours, the monthly cost of that camera is going to get prorated if the camera is still out of service, if that bus is still out of service. They're to continue to provide training as we add staff. The training is supposed to be available in various formats, and including a hard copy. They'll also be able to provide expert witnesses should the city be taken into court beyond a simple civil hearing.
Can you talk about the hearing officers?
And that was one of my questions, so yes, that would be helpful.
They're going to provide training to the hearing officers to explain to them what type of evidence package they're going to be given, what the citations look like, what the videos look like, how they can have access to the portal to take a look at how the violations are occurring, what they need to look like to review, and so they can make a decision on whether a violation occurred.
And can you talk about who the hearing officers are, just so that kind of who the reviews are going to be, who the hearing officers are?
The hearing officers will be appointed by the mayor's office according to the ordinance.
Okay, just so while we're on this topic, because I do have other camera questions, but okay, the process works. The company receives the video. It says, yes, there was an evident violation. They send it to the city. The city says, yep, it looks like there is. But then the person who is in violation will be able to appeal.
That's correct. It's like any other citation issued by business. Yes, they can appeal.
So along with the parking appeals, people get online, they appeal it or pay it. Is that the same process with this?
These will go before the hearing officer, so that it won't have that instantaneous online appeal process. They'll have to appeal in writing. Bus Patrol provides a portal which would allow for that, for them to do that in writing. They will then have to have a hearing before a hearing officer for the violation.
If they don't write saying they want to appeal, how do they pay if it's not online?
But they can pay online.
They
yes.
can pay
Yes,
online.
this is similar as to paying the parking tickets. Bus Patrol is going to have their own standalone portal, which you can go online to pay, or you'll be able to pay at City Hall.
There's a 2-week window for parking tickets. What's the window for these
It's
citations?
the same thing. It's 15 days to appeal.
And then it doubles, or?
No, they cannot double.
Okay, so the fee stays the same even if they don't pay it for 6 months?
That's correct.
And the reason they don't double is because of the state statute.
Right.
Okay. Now, with that being said, can someone, what if someone doesn't pay and they go to register their car, re-register? Is this listed on their record as non-payment, like a parking ticket?
So at this
They used to
time, yeah, so at this time, there is no link to registration or taxes or anything like that. There's been some folks that have talked about amendments in the state legislature. I'm not sure what's happening there. But it's civil, so I'm not sure that that's even possible. What exists now, you could go to collections if you want to. That's something we offer. You can do it. That is up to the city. That's your choice whether we can go to collections or not. We believe that our pay rate historically in other communities has been so high, and we're seeing a lot of success in Bridgeport and the other communities that we rolled out in as well, where collections has not been something that we've explored yet in the state of Connecticut. It is an option that's open to you, and that's your decision, not ours. So.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Of course.
I'm going to go back to, actually, what if a license plate does not match the car's identity or could be stolen, etc.
Absolutely. So we're definitely seeing ghost plates, plates that are obscured, that sort of thing. That's something we're working on. That's sort of a growing phenomenon that we're working on. You know, technology that might be able to work around some of those obscure films and that sort of thing. Of course, if we're able to get a clear shot of if the license plate is not obscured and we get a plate, that plate doesn't line up to the vehicle picture, we can pass that off to the police department. The police department can handle that how they see fit.
Okay. And just back to the cameras, are the cameras actually wired in the buses, or are they mobile? Let's say a bus breaks down and we need to get a temporary bus or vehicle
Absolutely.
that's not, it doesn't have a camera. Can they, you know how you have the windshield cameras?
Yeah.
You know, are they mobile or?
So they're not mobile. They are wired into the bus. They are wired into the power of the bus. And so they're not like, we can easily, you know, if a bus is, you know, if a bus is not fixable, right, and you decide to refresh that bus, we can easily bring out somebody who can pull the cameras out of that bus and move them over to a new bus. That's not something that you're going to need an installer to do that. We'll provide that. But what we will do is we'll install on a number of your spare buses. And that's something we do in every community. Not only do we install on every single one of your active buses, we'll install on some spares as well, so that when you do have breakdowns, when you do have planned maintenance and you have to pull buses out of rotation, you have enough spare buses installed that you can continue to monitor those bus stops every day.
Okay. Is this a tedious process? We have how many buses?
300
buses. If this gets approved by the board and everything goes smoothly, what does that plan look like?
We just over Long Island Sound, we have 10,000 buses in Suffolk County. So,
but will buses be down because school has started?
I'm sorry. Oh no, we install nights, we install weekends. First Student is very comfortable, and we have a great working relationship with them in terms of access to their lots. And so we've already spoke with your New Haven rep, and you know, we're happy to work with something that won't interfere with your routes, that won't keep your buses off of routes.
Okay, thank you for all that.
Of course.
Thank you, Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll now move to Alder Furlong.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your explanation. And I can appreciate the questions from colleagues because they're not all on the legislation committee where we've heard this already. We've had all these questions already, but you're not in that committee. But my question is, should this pass October 6th, when is the implementation date?
We're ready to go. We're ready to install at a moment's notice as soon as we have a contract signed by the mayor. We've already sort of put our teams together and talked through some of the logistics. We're talking with First Student, talking about, you know, asset lists, and we have things in place where we can roll out in 2 to 3 weeks.
So we're thinking
installing
November.
I think we can have buses up in October. I think that if we have
October, because it takes us.
Oh, will it take some weeks after that?
It has to be.
Yeah, so the process would be once the Board of Alders votes on it, obviously the mayor has to sign that, you know, order. And then that would give us a green light for our core council now to, you know, follow the process to finalize the contract. And usually the signing of the contract takes usually a day from the mayor's office, and obviously it has to be signed by bus control. So that would be the notice to proceed. So presuming October, I would just say a few weeks later, 2-3 weeks later, would probably have the.
No, it has to be noticed, right? It has to be noticed for the public in order for it to be official.
Yes.
An ordinance. So that's why I'm thinking probably the first week of November.
And one thing also, I also want to make it crystal clear, we are also, again, looking at a larger Vision Zero program where we've already hired, resources to make sure there's enough public outreach, engagement around this process to make sure that these things are coming. And we're working through our internal teams to actually.
I think that's a good idea, but people know that they can't go past lights. I mean, this, and I appreciate the human aspect. I had to laugh earlier where you're saying, well, 2 humans are going to look at this. I mean, what day are we living in where we had, was it Ava or Eva?
Ava, yeah, automated violation.
Do they get along?
Usually, I mean, the cool thing about AI is it's always learning, right? So every time one of our, and this has been happening since 2017. So every single time one of those reviewers corrects Ava and says, "Hey, this shouldn't have been a violation, and this is why." Ava learns from that, right? And so at this point,
scary.
It is, but it's gotten really, really good. Not to the point where not to the point where I think it's more of a comfort thing that people like knowing that there are people who are watching this tape before it comes to us. We're not just getting, something that only a computer has seen. And I think that's a bad taste people have in their mouths about the old program, myself included. It was the program we had in Hamden when I was elected in Hamden. It was a LiDAR radar system, and a lot of the videos we were getting, it wasn't even vehicles that were passing the camera. It was just any object that was going by the camera at the time that the stop arm was out. And so we were spending a lot of time weeding through that nonsense. And so that's really what Ava is able to do, is sort of weed through that nonsense. Hey, a vehicle passed while the red light was on. That shouldn't happen. And so, what our reviewers are often looking for is that driver didn't have enough time, or that stop arm wasn't all the way out, and New Haven likes the stop arm to be all the way out, or it was blocked by a box truck. There's no way that car could have seen. That's the kind of thing that our reviewers are looking for, so that your team isn't bogged down with that kind of labor.
And this program that's implementing is to implement. There was a lot of talk on the cost, but we know we can't put a price on the life of one of our children. That's right. And so a lot of that was just moved. I mean, we're going to do what we need to protect our children to the best of our ability financially. But I think that this is good to be said also that this program is to implement or to assist what the police are already doing.
Supplement.
Supplement, yes. So we have, for example, on Fountain Street, we make use of the motor vehicle police. They come out and they give up to 30 tickets. And he stands in the center of Fountain Street and just pulls cars over, lines them up, and this goes right down. And those tickets are, I think, like 600. Something
Yes,
like that. Yeah, an incredible amount of money. And that's a moving violation. And so it's a whole different thing. Mr. Chair, just through you, I think it might be, you're already going to get us a copy of the contract.
Yes.
I think a lot of the questions that we had in regards to repairs, and that's probably in the contract.
I would have read it. And
It's in the scope of services, yes.
Okay, great. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Furlong. Further questions from colleagues on this item? Further questions from colleagues? Seeing none, we thank you for your presentation this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a member of the public who wishes to testify on this item?
request for authorization to enter into a contract with this company to implement these kinds.
Is it appropriate?
You can just leave them with our staff. Don, our staff. Thank you, sir. Any member of the public wishing to testify? Is this a member of the public wishing to testify? Please come forward.
Hello.
When you are seated, we'll ask for your name and address for the record.
My name is Chevette Rogers, 333 August Street, Hampton, Connecticut, and I'm assistant manager at First Student.
Okay.
What I wanted to point out was, as far as the police being there, in the 20 years I've been there, only when they have blitz, and with the way the shortage everywhere and the crime, I haven't seen a blitz in a while. So it's my drivers trying to write down license plate numbers while maintaining kids and trying to drive. So the amount of tickets that can be gotten with the camera is gonna be far greater than my drivers that happens to see the cars going slow enough for them to call over the radio or is able to write it down because they're pulled over to let their kids off. I think it's a better benefit. It keeps our kids safer. I'm on that other end when there's a near miss. I've been there when kids have gotten hit and because the cars are not paying attention. So I think that it puts more safety on the driver being able to maintain those kids and ensure that our kindergartners and first graders are getting off with who they belong to. versus trying to make sure those 3 cars are not trying to dash past the bus because they don't want to wait the few minutes it takes to get those kids off the bus and get them across to the safety of their stops.
Thank you for your testimony. We're
Thank
very
you.
happy to hear. Before you leave,
Yes.
let me ask if there's questions from colleagues. Seeing none, we'd ask you just to confirm the spelling of your name with our staff person.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Any other members of the public wishing to testify on this item? Any member of the public wishing to testify on this item? And for a third time, if you wish to testify, now's the time to come forward and do it. Seeing none, we're going to move to the next item. Item number 4, which is the 60-month equipment lease and services agreement for print management services. Good evening. Name and address for the record, please. And roll within the same.
Good evening, Melinda Figueroa, purchasing agent for the City of New Haven and its Board of Education, 55 Oxford Street, New Haven.
The floor is yours.
So our current print management company's agreement expires. This board had issued them a 5-year agreement. It expires December 31st, 2025. So our office did our due diligence and contacted print management companies off of national cooperatives as allowed by the procurement ordinance. Out of the 3 proposals we received, we moved 2 of the vendors on for final presentations. And that's why I was unable to attend last month. We had our negotiation meetings, and I appreciate you, this board, accommodating that. Out of that, we just had talks on Friday, and we have selected a new vendor for our print management company. We've been with the Xerox company for 15 years. They've had 3 5-year consecutive agreements. We are now looking to move with UBEO, who's a print management service out of New Britain, Connecticut. UBEO.
UBEO, okay.
So the program, they're going to maintain our multi-function devices, which are the copier, scan, printing, email, faxing, etc. There are a few what you would call the single print devices, the stationary printers, scanners on desktops. And out of that, we have, there's 498 multi-function devices, 117 single function printers. A program we initiated was the paper cut function, which is a device safety where employees have to badge when they send something to print, or if they're just making copies at the copier, they have to badge in. So their badges are connected, they're logged in with their city or Board of Ed IDs. So we can connect who's printing what, when, where. If we see exorbitant amount of copies, we can connect that to the person that's printing them. So that's the function that started under Xerox that we're going to continue under UBEO. Their data collection agent software is similar to what we have in place with Xerox, where it will keep real-time associations with all the devices as far as toners and supplies, if there's anything needed. These are going to be totally new, brand new to the city, not refurbished devices. So we don't expect to have too many complications with them. So, but to have the data collection agent collecting that data to see with our monthly reports how many items were scanned, double-sided emails, everything, they will collect, the software will collect that data, and the UBEO will report back to the city monthly and the Board of Education monthly on what was going on that month. They will be providing 3 on-site staff members at 54 Meadow Street, 1 at the Hall of Records. They will be managing the city's mailroom operations, which is in interoffice mail and regular outgoing mail. That's delivery within the Hall of Records and the City Hall, all the mail that comes in from the U.S. Postal Service. They centralize that at the mailroom and then do walk-around deliveries for the interoffice mail, and then they collect the city department's mails and put that out. We do not meter here. We have a separate contract with corporate mailing. So that person in the mailroom is just going to get the mail ready, have a proper count, so Corporate Express will come and pick up that mail as they do currently. I think we just that. We have eFax already installed. UBEO will be continuing that, where you can just fax directly from your desk and also receive those faxes directly to your desk. The total investment with the fleet, the West Fax, the mailroom services, and this is, again, I didn't separate the numbers in totality. It's city and public school systems is $65,000 a month. And the average monthly volume in total, we're going to pay 1/100 of a cent per black and white and color copies. The approximate volume in totality, black and white and color, is about $17,500 a month. So we're looking at $85,000 a month in totality. UBEO is also offered to host student interns with the program. So we're gonna do a deeper dive. We have an implementation meeting with them tomorrow. I don't have too much background on that, but that was one of the value add services that really caught the city's eye. I could tell you now that we spend in totality, we spent $1.6 million in fiscal year 24-25 on our current program. So this will be, I apologize, I thought I had mine. We're looking at almost $1 million annually between the city and the Board of Ed, and over the lifetime of the contract, about $4.9 million. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you for that presentation. I did a quick math. I took 85 times 12, which got me to 1,020 times 5, makes it 5.1 million. So maybe it's less than 85,000, but your numbers were really close, 4.9 to my 5.1. Do you happen to know what we've been paying Xerox?
Our standard agreement was at the bare minimum was $90,000 a month. And then we had to pay costs for any overages we had. We were guaranteed black and whites. Color we always had to pay for. Black and whites we had a minimum, and once we exceeded that, it was another 0.100 percentile for that charge. So
could have been,
we were averaging about $135,000 a month between, again, Board of Ed and the city.
So you're telling us that this is like $50,000 a month less?
Yes.
For the same scope of services?
Same scope of services with value add services. Okay. We'll no longer be hosting, I apologize, I didn't include this. We currently host servers that take that data that I said, the Uniflow and the DCA data. It's hosted on servers in the city's IT server room. We're going to move that to the cloud. So they will no longer have to host. So that was a value add service. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for your presentation. We'll now take questions from committee members. The floor is open for colleagues who wish to ask questions on this item. And it's fine if you do not. Any questions from colleagues? Alder Festa, you're on the edge. If you don't want to, that's fine.
Should I just ask a question?
Not unless you have one. So my question for you, and perhaps you've already said it, and I just didn't hear it because I was making some note to myself. Well, first of all, Xerox is a company I've heard of, and they produce machines that do this work. UBEO I've never heard of before, but they're not a manufacturer of machinery. They're just a company that provides the service. They'll buy the machines. They'll lease machines from Xerox or Canon or somebody.
Yeah, this is, I'm sorry to interrupt, Canon products.
Canon products
Are for the multifunction devices. So we would be leasing the 5-year term. That's part of that upfront $65,000 cost.
So the machines that we have in our offices now,
Are Xerox.
and they'll be removed and replaced with Canon.
And that's part of, yeah, the implementation.
Okay. Oof. That's a lot that will have to happen. Okay. Batch enabled printing. I've never had to show my badge to print anything.
Mhm.
Can we set up legislative services to
Oh,
make it so that
absolutely.
alders don't have to show their badge to print?
You don't have to? Yeah, no problem.
Very good.
Just use Al's badge.
There you go. We'll have the director's badge. Thank you for that clarification. Any further questions from colleagues on this? Seeing none, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. You have a draft agreement with this company that needs to be finalized, is that correct? Or is
No,
it
we
final?
don't enter into contracts until we have your approval.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
That's right.
No, that's what, yeah, I was curious when you
That's
asked
right.
for a contract.
Now, there's often,
I stop that when it comes to our department through our agreement process. If I don't see your attached, I'm like, go get it. So I won't sign off on it because that's part of the
but
procurement
there's a
process.
draft that you,
There's not.
There's
I don't, again, we just finalized on Friday, so I'm still collecting their insurance and their disclosure forms to get that full package, but I would be more than willing to submit it.
thank you.
Absolutely.
After, yeah, we would like to see it even if it's after the.
Yes, absolutely.
But we trust that the terms will be as you've described them.
Yes, it's, again, the city has its blanket terms and conditions, and that's what will be in this document.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Alder Festa.
Just a point of clarification. Did you say that the contract ends though the end of the year, our current one?
The current one ends December 31st, 2025, so this would begin January 1st, but we're gonna start the implementation process, as you alluded to. That's a lot of
Yeah.
machines to deliver and then a lot of machines to take back, so it's gonna take a lot of coordination.
Okay, and if this board approves this, that will happen as soon as you sign off on the purchase agreement?
Yes, as soon as this board approves, full board approval, we'll move forward with the contracting, but we're gonna start the implementation, which is a no cost, we don't start incurring costs or anything. But they need our commitment in order to start the lease on the machines, but we wouldn't do anything. The term would start January 1st, but again, we're gonna need to deploy before that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Festa. Thank you very much for your presentation. Seeing no further questions, you are dismissed. Is there a member of the public who wishes to testify on this item, the 5-year lease agreement with printing services company known as UBPO? Is there a member of the public wishing to testify? That's the second call. And for a third time, is there a member of the public who wishes to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll move forward with the next item in our agenda, which is a proposed reclassification of a position. And I see our deputy CAO and our deputy chief of police services coming forward. Please, your names and addresses for the record.
Rebecca Barbera, 122 West Rock Ave, New Haven, Connecticut, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer.
Monique Bactana, Assistant Chief, New Haven PD, 22 Gold Street.
I just made you deputy by my own.
Same thing. Deputy
Assistant Chief, my apologies.
That's okay, sorry.
So as you guys know, whenever we have a vacancy, we like to review the position to make sure that's aligned with the current city needs. Recently, we had the retirement of our longtime senior crime analyst. So our senior crime analyst is a longstanding job description, and what the individual actually did was supervise our now growing division of crime analysts. As the opportunity presents itself, we'd like to update that job description to reflect the current needs and technology, and also retitle it such that it accurately reflects the supervision responsibilities as the senior crime analyst leads the division. So with that, I will turn it over to the chief to elaborate on that.
Good evening, Alders. Thank you for this opportunity to present. Thank you to the Deputy CAO and Office of Management Budget. Also, the Human Resources Department for working with the job reclassification, putting through the Civil Service Board. So as Becky mentioned, the senior crime analyst retired at the end of July, but he had given me ample notice, at least 2.5 months, which allowed me to speak with the city in order to reclassify this position that I had long thought of doing. We currently have 2 crime analysts that work directly in the Real-Time Crime Center, and some of you have visited the Real-Time Crime Center. Modern policing definitely relies on this type of technology, from crime analytics to digital evidence processing and real-time intelligence. So these 2 crime analysts that are currently in the Real-Time Crime Center, they're looking at cameras, they're making calls, they're looking up recourse system, and collecting a lot of information and passing it on to the detectives and officers that are working. And on a daily basis, I hear officers asking for help from the Real-Time Crime Center. That is exactly what we need, that type of communication. So with having a reclassification of the supervisor position would allow for the department to oversee and evaluate the work performance of the crime analysts that are currently in the Real-Time Crime Center. They would also train department personnel in crime analysis, filing system, and department-specific programming. They'll develop, implement, and work with workflow patterns. So right now, the 2 crime analysts are not trained to do this, are not compensated for this either, because now this is the additional job duty that we will be adding on to the supervisory crime analyst position. So I think it's really important that we get them trained, because they will help the police department, the chiefs, any ad hoc requests that may come in for informational reports, summaries, and analysis required by management. And I would like to mention, and I'm sure Becky would also cover this, that this comes at a budget neutral request, so there will be no fiscal impact. And hopefully this is approved in the next few months. We should be able to post, test, and hire.
Thank you for that presentation. We're grateful for the information. I'm just going to make a quick comment before I open the queue for questions, which is we understand the importance of being able to catch and convict people of crimes. It's really, really important. And so this office does really important work. As an alder, I would love to keep you all evening and ask lots of questions about the functioning of this office, but we're not going to do that because this is not a workshop on the public safety function of our city. And so I encourage colleagues, when we ask questions, to focus on why this reclassification will help the office function better. We're not going to have time to do a full-blown workshop on the total functioning of this office. But so if someone starts to do that, I will cut them off. But we do need to ask questions about why this classification change is important. And now I'll open the queue for questions. Alder Smith.
I just had a comment. I just want to say thank you. It was really amazing to see that center, to see everything that goes on in the whole city and the work in which that they're doing. I can see why this change is definitely needed. To increase the job description to make this change for this job description. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for the hard work in which that you are doing around the city of New Haven.
Thank you, Alder.
Thank you, Alder Smith. I think you probably speak on all our behalf when you do that. So now let's have questions. Who's next? Alder Fergo's on the queue, and then the queue's open after that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for what you're doing in our city. I know what 3144 is. This says 3114. What's 3114?
That would be a typo.
That's a typo, sir.
Okay. Then I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your proofreading.
Sharp eye from our colleague here from 127. Further questions from colleagues on this item? Alder Fest.
Just curious, obviously you need to hire someone, so the quicker we vote on it, I mean, will this affect any delays on the department functioning appropriately?
Well, at this time, the current crime analyst is filling in for this position, and I've been in talks with Becky about that as well. However, it will at some point cause a delay. I can tell you that because she's handling her responsibilities and additional responsibilities.
So yeah, there's an individual receiving a differential for taking on additional responsibilities, but can't backfill that position either. So the quicker we do this, the quicker we can fill both positions, or one of the two positions, and get the team back up to 3.
Okay.
The other thing I want to just give kudos to the PD. We've also been very successful in our partnerships with UNH and getting interns to help with these tasks. And the supervisor helps supervise the interns and their deliverables, which also help with their recruitment.
And I'm sure Mr. Chair will let me know if this is appropriate or not, but you mentioned the civil test. When is that going to take place, or do we?
So civil service rules, we can't post a position until we have a budgeted position. So what we have to do based on the rules of the board is retitle the position for you guys in the budget. Once that is approved, we are ready and able to post the position to test for it. Based on timing, we might also seek temp pending test through the civil service rules to fill the position more expeditiously, but it all depends on how things time between your meetings and the civil service board meetings.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Vesta. Further questions from colleagues? Just one. This position is an analyst position. It's not a uniformed officer position, so it's a different set of qualifications than recruiting a police officer, which we know takes a much longer time to train.
That's right.
So this is someone who has like either on-the-job training or advanced degree in this kind of analytical work.
The way this position was reclassified is we asked for at least 1 to 2 years of experience within the police department, a police department, and also some data collection, statistical analysis, and mapping in crime analysis.
The individual is still required to go through the long form backgrounds, not the psychs and all of that the police department has to do for the post training. So quicker onboarding.
Great. Thank you for that. Further questions from colleagues? Seeing none, we thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Alders. Thanks for your time.
Is there a member of the public who wishes to testify on this proposed position reclassification? And for a second time, is there a member of the public who is wishing to testify on this item? And for a third time, anyone here wishing to testify on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll move on with our agenda and move to item 6, the final item on our agenda, which is the monthly report, financial report for July 2025. I'm sure a lot. This report probably says a great deal. Do you have paper to give us, or is it? Okay, so let's get that done, and then we'll state the name and address.
Shannon McHugh, 295 Warren Oak Road, Waterbury, Connecticut.
We're all ears.
Yes, well, this is the monthly report for July. At this stage of the year, we believe that things will track close to the budget. There are some items that, that we're going to track more closely than others. But it really hasn't, whether it'll be a surplus or deficit hasn't really shown itself at this point. One thing that we are going to watch very closely is overtime. We're doing projections already. We try to take each week and put it into a form, and so we can project out where we think overtime is going. We do see, obviously, with the police contract, that this, if you compare July to July, overtime's a little bit higher because the wage is higher. So we want to keep a close eye on that. As far as tax revenue, it is, by the way, this should have been cleaned up. There is no deficit or surplus in the tax revenue thus far. So far, the collection, we had first major collection in July. But revenues are, I think we collected about $167 million in just property taxes alone. But there's no indication that things would track, we believe they'll track close to budget, as they typically do. So there's not a lot to report at this time, and these numbers you can see in the litigation fund and the workers' comp fund on the front page. You see a little dip there, but it's too early to tell that that's a real dip because of the way the revenues flow in. So, so far so good, and we're just gonna have to do a good job of tracking things and making sure we stay close to budget this year.
Thank you for that presentation. Let me just ask you a quick question while you're here. When do you anticipate being able to come back to us with a year-end transfer and closeout from last fiscal year?
Well, the closeout officially starts September 17th. We have projections. I update my projections every day. We're getting very, very close, but we're much closer as of 17th and shortly thereafter. So we should have something pretty definitive not too long after the September 17th.
So we could see a communication in the first meeting in October.
We should be ready for that, yes. Yeah.
So we might just plan ahead and think that in October we might be ready to hear from you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. That would be good. Questions from colleagues on this financial report from the month of July, the first month in the fiscal year? Any questions from colleagues? Not a whole lot happening in 1 month's time. Usually there's more to discuss after we've had more time. Questions from colleagues? Seeing none, we thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public wishing to testify on this monthly financial report from July 2025? Anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? And for a third time, anyone who wishes to testify on this or any of the other items that we've heard so far this evening? Seeing none, a motion is appropriate.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to move item 1. I make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion has been made to close the public hearing portion of this meeting. Has been seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion carries. The public portion is closed. Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I move item number 1 favorably.
Second.
Item 1 has been moved favorably and seconded. Discussion of this item. And just to remind colleagues, this is the system that the New Haven Public School cafeterias use to track expenditures and to be able to make their reimbursement requests to the agencies. Alder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just quickly, in the actual order, the amount is not in there. And I'm wondering if we should make an amendment to add it to the order itself.
Well,
which is the $146,893.50 for the 3-year period.
well, we could. That would have to be moved and seconded as an amendment in order for us to do it this evening. Would you like to propose such an amendment?
Yes.
Do you want to
sir.
take a moment to think about where you would put it and how you would say it?
Well, it should just be one of the therefore probably, or whereas, at least it's just something where it's there. Doesn't have to be anything complicated other than now therefore be it ordered that the Board of Alders approves the amount.
I think.
Or whatever you deem.
I think,
Is it in there?
because I haven't seen that we do have a contract for this. And I perused it, but I don't recall if there are other contingencies that could kick in that might cause that amount to be a little bit higher. So I think it would be prudent for us to look at that and confirm that that's in fact the number, and not the likely number. So why don't we look at that, and if we can confirm that number by the second reading, we can make that change then.
Okay. As long as the board feels it's necessary, we can move forward with that, and I agree, and I'm in favor of this item.
Thank you, Alder Festa. Further comments from colleagues on item 1, which has been moved favorably. Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm also in favor of this, and I agree with my colleague that that the total of contracts ought to be in the title. And so I'm looking forward to possibly hearing that amendment on the floor when it gets there on October 6th. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Furlow. Further comments? I'm tripping over my own words here. Further comments from colleagues? Seeing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. It will move forward favorably. Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I move item number 2 favorably.
Second.
Item has been moved and seconded. This is the one-year contract extension with the United Way to coordinate the math and literacy tutoring initiative. Comments from colleagues? Would you like to go, Alder Punzo, since you made the motion?
Yeah.
Why don't you?
Yeah, I think this is a great program. They've been doing this for years. I just had to get it clear in my mind, the process of it, the application process and what the requirements are. But I'm definitely in favor of this, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Punzo. Alder Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am in support of this motion. This program, as noted, has been going since COVID and has really done an excellent job with ensuring that not only New Haven children increase their literacy, but also supporting the big and the small programs throughout the city to help our children with literacy. And I think that's so important. And so to see that yet another year is being requested, that makes me very happy, because it tells me our children will be reading even better. And so anything that we can do to provide additional supports to our children by way of these various organizations, I'm all for. So I support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Morrison. Further comments from colleagues? Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too am in favor of this item. It was impressive to learn that they went from 8 partners to 25 partners in 2 years, helping 1,500 students over the last 2 years as well. This is an investment in kids. It's an investment in our students, and I see it down the line as helping the New Haven public school system increase their numbers, hopefully, once, considering that these kids are going through a program such as this. And we already know the success of New Haven Reads and New Haven Counts, and it's nice to see that they are also an important and big partner with this initiative. So I fully support this, and I hope to see higher numbers than this 1,500 students. Not that we have the students that need it, but we know that additional students could use it possibly down the line, and obviously it's been a success. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Festa. Further comments from colleagues on this item? Alder Furlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm also in favor of giving this a favorable recommendation to the board. Our children need to learn how to read and write. It's important. I am still flabbergasted that our children don't know how to write cursive. They're not teaching that anymore, and I hope that will somehow be revived. I'm looking forward to getting some reports on this afterwards, should it pass through our board. This is New Haven Public School students, so wherever they're from, whatever town they're from, New Haven seems to be the city that provides services for everybody. And so this is another case where we're providing this service, and I think it's something we should be proud of. And so I'm definitely speaking in favor of this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Furlow. Any further comments on this item? I'll just note for the record that we did request to have a copy of that annual report, which is available online, but the United Way representative volunteered to send that to us. It'll be good to peruse, and who knows, maybe there are statistical information in that report that talks about where the kids are from. Perhaps we'll see it there. Further comments on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and it'll move forward favorably. Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I move item number 3 favorably.
Second.
Item 3 has been moved and seconded. This is the bus camera item. Discussion, Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I'm in favor of this item. During the discussion, Mr. Majority Leader Furlow mentioned that you can't put a price on safety for our students, and this program seems to do that. So I'm definitely in favor of this.
Thank you, Alder Punzo. Further discussion on this item, Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too am in favor of this item. How many times do we witness school buses stopped and cars going around? And, it's something that needs attention. I support it. Just one other comment regarding the order as well. The amount was not in this order either. So I don't know if we have an exact. I know they mentioned 4 million, but this might be a number we need to look into as well, just so we kind of just, I know it's a cost neutral. And I don't know if this committee feels it's important to add a number to it, just putting it out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Festa. I think that's a good point. This is a different situation in that there's a kind of there's a fee structure, but there's not a set cost because it'll depend on how many people get tickets and pay those tickets. So we should give some thought to how the order might have more information about the cost than it currently does. Because I agree that requests from the administration for authorization to enter into contracts ought to say something about the cost. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So that's the message we're going to definitely send the administration, that we want, if there's a contract, we want it before we hear the item. And if it's clear what the cost is going to be, then it should be in the order, because we're not authorizing carte blanche. We're authorizing a contract with an amount to it. So we will give some thought to how that cost structure can be adequately incorporated into the order. Thank you for raising that, Alder Festa. Further comments from colleagues, Alder Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please go, Alder Smith.
Thank you. I do agree with the safety of the children. I do understand what violations are. I'm going to vote in favor of it, but I also want to know a little bit more about who's actually monitoring these tapes. And I think that would be a great deter for me. Okay. But I do agree with the safety of the children, that we do need to protect our kids at no cost or any cost to be. So I'm going to vote favorable for it at this time.
Thank you, Alder Smith. And my apologies, Alder Morrison, I skipped over you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm in support of this this motion. Our reality is we don't have a lot of police. Our reality is we're continuously down police, especially during the time in which schools transition, after school, I should say. If this service is going to be an additional tool in the sense for our police to have in their tool belt, I'm all for it. As it's been said here numerous times, there is no cost when it comes to the safety of the children. And so hopefully, folks will work themselves out of this, right? Like the violations will go down so low that this service is not needed in this company. They won't get anything for it because of the fact that it's cost neutral. The violators pay for the service, and if they're not violated, there's no need for it to be there. So I'm in so much support of this because it just lets me know that we're going to save a child's life. So thank you.
Thank you, Alder Morrison. Alder Furlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm also in favor of giving this a favorable recommendation to the board. Kind of on the other side of this, I don't think that this is going to decrease because it's a civil citation. It's not going to affect license. It's not going to be points off. Their cars are not going to get towed. It's civil, which means that they can pay it or they won't pay it. And then maybe the city will go after them in collections, and good luck with that. But I will say that this is a good start. And this is something that we need. The traffic, the speeding in New Haven is out of control. And so this was something that was given to us by the state to be able to implement. And I think we need to do it. There's going to be a lot of kinks in this, as we've heard in the legislation committee. And Mr. Chair, maybe we should get that information to our colleagues of what was passed out of legislation. But we're looking at some kinks of possibility, police giving a ticket and then tickets maybe being duplicated by cameras. And so there's going to be some kinks in this program that are going to have to be worked out, as there is with every new program. But I'm confident that our city staff are going to be able to get this done. And I'm actually proud that they brought this before us because it shows that they're looking at traffic patterns and they're concerned about these things that are happening throughout the city. I think if we don't begin to attack or to deal with these small issues, this is what grows into bigger issues, and it grows into increasing crime throughout the city. We have to deal with the small things that we can and nip those things in the bud. And then I believe that it will bring greater peace throughout our city. So I'm in favor of this, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Furlow. I think everybody has spoken. I'll just add for the record that I too support this item. And I think it will behoove this board to have some kind of follow-up workshop for the appropriate committee, whether it's public safety or CSEP, this body, whatever the president would see is appropriate. But we're going to want to hear back in 6 months or 9 months when there's been some data about how many infractions have been issued and what the collection rate is, and if there's enough data to show any kind of behavior change. It would behoove us to hear about it sometime next year. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion passes. Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I move item 4 favorably.
Second.
Item 4 has been moved and seconded. This is the 5-year equipment lease and services agreement for print management services. Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I'm in favor of this. It's nice to see that, you know, 85,000 per month versus 90,000. So it is a savings, but, you know, having run a building for years, copying and toner and repairs is, you know, probably the most frightening thing to a teacher coming in and there's no copy machine. But it's nice to see that they're looking and evaluating previous vendors and looking for savings. So I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, Alder Punzo. Alder Fest.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too am in favor of this. There's an evident cost savings to this new contract and every penny counts. I just want to point out that there are no numbers in this order as well. And, you know, if we feel that that's important to add, then we should probably add it to this order as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Fest. Alder Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in favor of this to see a city department to come without making any movements before it's passed by the Board of Alders. So that makes me definitely in favor of this item.
Thank you, Alder Smith. Any further comments on this item? Alder Furlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just since we're in discussion, I'm wondering if you want to put the name of the company in this EB lease agreement with UBEO.
I think we probably will want to do that. Make sure I know the full name of the company, but I think we may have some substitute amendments on these items at the second reading to make, you know, I think this resolution was drafted well before the administration knew who the winning bidder would be, but it's better when we're authorizing a contract to name the other party. So I agree, that's something we should.
It seems that's the case because our notes state that there wasn't a vendor yet selected.
Right. Which is why we waited the whole month on this.
Good enough. We'll wait till our second reading. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you all.
I'm in favor. Did I say that already?
You did?
Okay.
Glad to know it. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion carries. It will vote for Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, I move to, item 5 favorably.
Second.
Item 5 has been moved and seconded. This is the position reclassification. Discussion, Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I really haven't seen this, this operation, moving forward to go up and seeing it. I know some of my colleagues have, and I'm sure it's very interesting and exciting and something that every city needs. So I'm definitely in favor of this.
Thank you, Alder Punzo. Further discussion on this item, Alder Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too am in favor, and I appreciate that the amounts, the salaries were implemented in this order, but there is one Scribner's error with the union number.
Yes.
That's the
We'll
only.
make sure that gets corrected.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Further discussion from colleagues? Seeing none, all in favor of this item moving forward favorably, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, it will move forward favorably. Alder Punzo.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to read and file item number 6.
Second.
This item has been moved and seconded as a read and file. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, it will be moved forward as a recommendation that the board read and file that report. And I don't have any particular announcements to give, except that colleagues probably heard our Director of Management and Budget and Grants anticipate that our closeout transfers should be ready for next month, which means that in our October meeting, we may be hearing that. The October meeting is going to probably be on a different Monday next month because the second Monday of October is Indigenous Peoples' Day. So we'll get that pinned down soon so that colleagues will know when that finance meeting will be.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alder Festa.
I make a motion. We adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. The motion carries. We are adjourned.
Far right.